So, today's Columbus Day, and it's a little quiet over here in downtown Manhattan. I'm at Battery Park, and I'm just chilling, and I got a couple of minutes on my hand today, so I figured I'd talk about something that I don't ordinarily get some time to talk about. The thought came to me about harmony. Now, that's a word. It's a word that even if you're not a musician, you're not interested in music too much, you've heard it. I've even met people whose name was Harmony. I've met some melodies, more melodies than harmonies, but I've actually met a couple of harmonies. And I guess people name their kids that sometimes because they think just the word inspires imagery of beauty or whatever. Harmony. But I wanted to kind of make a video for people who have no clue what this word really means in the musical sense. Because to be fair and honest, I actually was a guitar player for probably, to my shame, several years before I really understood what the word harmony meant. Stop beeping, I'm making a video, yo. It's always quiet when I start making my videos. I even said it was quiet, and then it got, noisy all of a sudden. Buses pulling up, beeping. Come on, man, I'm trying to talk about harmony. This is not harmonious, yo. To be fair to myself, when I first started playing, I didn't really know a lot about music in general. I just picked up the guitar and just started to mess around with a couple of things that my dad had showed me in the house. And the simplest things ever, because he wasn't a player. But yeah, it was mostly self-taught, so you can't blame me too hard for not really knowing what the formal meaning of harmony was. So anyway, what is harmony exactly? I want to say harmony, the word harmony as I understand it today, and I could give a formal definition, but that's not what this is about. This is about helping beginners or intermediates, that might be where I was at that time, to understand functionally what this means so they could put that knowledge to practice and become effective. Gaining a deeper understanding and insights into how music actually works will open up things for you, I believe, to where you'll be more fluent in the language of how music works and be able to start to apply these things to your own playing so that you can play from your heart and have fun with that, by the way. But anyway, what is harmony? The way I think of harmony is just it's whenever two or more notes are happening at the same time, it's a harmony. When you just have one note playing at a time, it's it's its own thing. It's just a pitch. But when you have two notes playing at the same time, guess what happens? They start to feed off of one another. Whenever you have two notes playing at the same time, those two notes will start to feed off of one another, and they will rub against each other in such a way that it either sounds good or it sounds bad. Now, when we think of harmony, we think of always harmony. Oh, such sweet harmony. It sounds so harmonious. About relating to other people that way, right? They get along with good harmony. But in music, harmony is not always necessary that it has to sound good. That's usually what we're seeking for. But even if two notes sound horrible next to each other, and there's a couple of cases that I can think of that's true, that's a harmony. Yeah. Okay, so these are the buses that just suddenly pulled up, and they're making all this wonderful background noise for you guys. So I think I'm gonna move over to another spot. Alright, I'm a little farther away now. Hopefully there's less noise and pretty flowers and whatnot, and the birds chirping. Hopefully this will be a little bit more harmonious. It's harmonious out here. You could just feel the beauty. I'm hearing a new melody that I can make a guitar instrumental out of now. Not really. But anyway, yeah, once you have two or more notes playing at the same time, harmony has begun. Technically, they could be the same note, two of the same, like say a guitar, an acoustic guitar, and another acoustic guitar playing a C on the 5th string, and and if they're both playing it at the same time, that creates a harmony called a unison. But for the most part, you would want to think of harmony as two different notes happening at the same time or more. Now, like I said, when two notes are playing at the same time, it creates a certain vibe that happens when those two notes are happening at the same time. And we would consider that a harmony. Thing is, if you start to add in more notes, things get more complex. So if you have two notes happening, they're rubbing against each other, or they're vibing against each other, I should say, is probably a better way to think about it. And they're creating a certain kind of flavor when they're happening up against each other, good or bad. But now you introduce another note into the equation, and now you have the first note interacting with the second note, but now you have the first note interacting with the third note, and then you have the second note interacting with the third note, and they're all three of them are interacting with one another. And then say you add a fourth note, and now you have, so the more you add, the more complex the harmony is gonna be happening, because all of these different notes are vibing against each other. And this is kind of like where the whole thing of music theory it was born. I'm not a historian, but I would imagine that people realized at some point that certain things sounded good with one another and certain things sounded bad. So peaceful and harmonious, except for that airplane or whatever it is, helicopter, messing up all the harmony. Yeah, anyway, I was kind of getting all into it, and then my wife called me, and I don't remember what I was saying. But yeah, man, every time you add an additional note, it's gonna get more complex. Yeah, and I was talking about how they tried to they developed this thing, whoever they is, they developed music theory to try to understand why do things sound good and when do they not sound good, and try to kind of understand how this all works. And I guess it all boils down back to physics and how waves and frequencies and all of that. And you could get into all those hairy details if you really wanted. I haven't studied so much because I just want to make music. I want to play my guitar and make stuff that I think sounds cool and copy stuff that I think sounds cool. That's all. So, I mean, study it as much as you'd like, but for those of you who are more relatively new, just understand all harmony is when two notes or more than two notes are happening at the same time. It creates something called harmony. And the whole study of harmony is and music theory too, is just studying rules or guidelines or kind of like formulas for when does stuff sound good and when does it sound bad, and how can you kind of like manipulate that to create certain vibes when you're writing and composing.
We now interrupt this perfectly good video to show you some weirdo playing a mindless solo. Because you like it. Remember to subscribe to the channel because we need more subscribers. Thank you very much.
So anyway, there's my really long time killing video, and hopefully you found some insight into what is harmony and how does it work, and not really how does it work, but what is it. This is what it is. This is how I understand it today, and there's plenty of complicated stuff you can learn as to how it works, but first you need to have a simple understanding of what it works, and that's what I'm hoping to be here for you, to make things a little simpler, because music is a complicated language. It's all Greek to me, actually. It's all squiggly lines with dots and whatnot. But at the heart of it, it's simple. And you can go far by sifting out all the complicated stuff and making it as simple as possible to grow to the next level, and then you can add complexity as you go. At some point, the complicated stuff will become simple too, as you're ready. But hey, before you start to study all this music theory and harmony concepts and all of this, it's helpful to know what it means, right? So hey, I'll see you next time. Play the guitar from the heart and have fun with that. I'll see you next time. Take it easy.